Kenya's Umoja, a safe community for women. Umoja, a small village in Kenya, is a shining example of how women can support each other to fight against challenges. Founded in 1990 by Rebecca Lolosoli, Umoja is a sanctuary for women seeking protection from domestic violence, child marriages, and other forms of unfair treatment based on gender. The word Umoja means unity in Swahili. It shows the village's values of sticking together, helping each other, and building up women's strength and independence. Unlike traditional male-led communities, Umoja is entirely run by women, and men are not allowed to live there. The women manage the village's affairs, make group decisions together, and support themselves financially through tourism and the sale of traditional crafts. Their work supports the community and guides tourists to gain a deeper understanding of their cause. Rebecca Lolosoli's personal experiences led to the creation of Umoja. After speaking out against the unfair treatment of women in her old community, she faced problems like physical violence. Recognizing the need for a safe space, she gathered women who sought the same. Now in Umoja, they live free from fear and can build a better future for themselves and their children.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to English for You. I'm Mike.
I'm Nikki.
And today we are going to be talking about a village in Kenya. We have an article for you with a very interesting title. Let's have a look at that title if we can. It is Kenya's Umoja, a safe community for women. I wanted to get the name of this place right. It's not a big city, right? I actually went to Kenya many years ago as a kid. Yes. I don't think I went to Umoja. I did go to Nairobi, which is the big capital city. And of course, there's Mombasa, the big port city over there on the Indian Ocean. But Umoja is a place where women can kind of help each other out. And it's actually been very, very successful.
Yeah.
So I think this sounds like a wonderful thing to do. A lot of people go to Kenya to see the animals, to go on safari. And of course, that's a great thing to do.
Go check out this village.
But also,
if you can.
Check out the village because they're doing wonderful things there. So what do you say? Let's get into it and find out all about Umoja and how it is changing lives for the better. The article says, Umoja, a small village in Kenya, is a shining example of how women can support each other to fight against challenges. And that is a great thing because women, of course, have many challenges, especially women in third world countries.
Yes.
In places like Kenya, women need all the help that they can get. And this is women helping women. So that makes it even better.
那今天的课文要介绍一个在非洲肯亚的小村庄 Umoja 以及女性赋权的故事。
And it's been around a while, not too long, but a few years. So clearly it's been successful. Founded in 1990 by Rebecca Lolosoli. I like her last name, Lolosoli. Umoja is a sanctuary for women seeking protection from domestic violence, child marriages, and other forms of unfair treatment based on gender. And they definitely need help if they're suffering from things like domestic violence and child marriage. Those are things that we don't want to have women have to deal with in society. And when we have people or things in the world that need help, that need to be safe, that are in danger, those things need protection. It could be you when you're outside and the rain starts pouring down. You might have an umbrella for protection. And, it's not as bad as getting hurt or getting killed, but getting wet in the rain isn't something people want. So yes, you protect yourself, that's the verb, with an umbrella. The umbrella or a raincoat or whatever gives you protection. A nice winter jacket will give you protection from the cold. The locks on your front door give your home protection from people stealing stuff. And of course, outside in the world, maybe if we need protection, we'd look for a police officer.
Exactly.
Or something like that, or someone to help us, to keep us safe from danger, harm, or bad things happening. For example, these safety glasses, those big plastic ones, these safety glasses will give your eyes protection from harmful chemicals in the lab. You don't want to have that happen. And of course, violence. Yes, a lot of people might need protection from violence. If someone is around them and is trying to hurt them, or even worse, they are probably trying to inflict violence. And violence is physical, hitting people, punching people, stabbing people, shooting people. But there's also emotional violence,
exactly.
Right? If someone calls you bad names and makes you feel terrible or makes you feel like you're in danger, even if they don't touch you, that can be violence. But generally, when we think of it as people fighting. Wars are filled with violence, people getting hurt, killed, bombs, guns, things like that. And as the example sentence says, violence is never the best way to solve problems between people. It's much better to talk than to hit.
那之所以会特别提到这个地方和女性的关联呢，其实就是因为它是一个庇护所，在那边遇到不平等对待或者是遭受暴力行为的女性都会来到这个地方来。Protection 这边是名词，指的是保护。So if you're under protection, it means you're being protected. You cannot be harmed. 那另外 violence 这个名词指的是暴力或者是暴力行为。So it's a behavior that is intended to hurt people. So for example, domestic violence 我们讲到的家庭的暴力 family related or physical violence. Or verbal violence. You're so stupid. That would be verbal violence. Or here we see violent, 它的形容词指的就是 very aggressive, very vicious. 那另外 sanctuary 这个名词呢，指的就是避难所或者是庇护所 a safe place for people to stay. 那 gender 这个名词指的是性别 So for example, male, female, or you can say sex. 或者那我们常常提到的 gender identity, gender equality is very important. And be 加一个名词加一个动词 based on something 指的就是根据。
All right. So the word Umoja, the name of this village, it actually means something in the language that the people speak there. The word Umoja means unity in Swahili. Yes, Swahili.
So it's not English.
It's not English. Swahili is a language that's mostly spoken in East Africa. If you go there, what are some other Swahili? Jambo. I think that's hello. And Uhura.
You know.
Well, no, Uhura was the name of one of the characters in Star Trek, the old Star Trek show. And I think it means freedom. But don't quote me on that. But I know
their language has a lot of... No,
I think that might be
other
Kosa down in South Africa.
Okay.
I don't think they do the clicking sounds, but maybe they do. I'm not quite sure. Swahili, it's a very interesting language, but when I went to Kenya, I was just a kid, so and most people there speak English too. Anyway, so yeah, Swahili Umoja is a language, is a word in that language. It means unity, and it shows the village's values of sticking together, helping each other, and building up women's strength and independence. And when they're talking about building women's strength, they don't probably mean they're pumping iron and going to the gym. It means emotional strength, making them independent, making them able to take care of themselves and go out there and make the world a better place. All right, so yeah, we saw this word strength, and of course, this is the noun of a word you might be a little more familiar with, strong. If we say someone is strong, as I mentioned earlier, we often think of power, physical power, right? If you got big muscles, you have a lot of strength, you're very strong. If you want strength, you can lift weights at the gym and do lots of exercise or something like that. But there are other kinds of strength, of course. There's emotional strength, the ability to deal with problems and not get angry or get sad or kind of, become upset about things. If someone says, oh, you showed a lot of strength when something bad happened, they're kind of saying your emotional strength, your mind power, not so much your body and muscle power. That is what they're talking about in that situation. Here's a good example of that. Penelope showed great strength following the death of her parents in a plane crash. Oh my gosh, a terrible tragedy, a terrible thing happened to her, but she held herself together. She did what she needed to do, and she showed a lot of strength in a difficult time.
那 umoji 这个字在斯瓦西里语的意思指的是团结，那同时也可以是这个村庄的核心价值。Strength 这个名词指的是意志力或者是力量 ，the physical power to do something or to accomplish something. The opposite of the word would be weakness, right? And we say stick together 指的就是互相扶持或者是团结一致。那也可以说 unite or we help each other. 那 build up something 指的是建立或者是增强。So here we say build up women's strength 意思就是 makes women stronger.Exactly
right. Unlike traditional male-led communities, Umoja is entirely run by women.
Yay.
And men are not allowed to live there.
Yay.
Wow, okay. So it's a lady town.
Exactly.
That sounds very nice. And I guess in this part of the world, like in many places, men are often the leaders of the community, the mayor, the boss, the president, the guy in charge. You will not find no guys in charge in this community. It will all be ladies and women and girls in charge in a community of women. And what is a community? It's just kind of a group living together. That's all it is. People sharing space, maybe helping each other out in different ways as well, and doing it in a peaceful way. They're not fighting all the time, hopefully, because that probably wouldn't be a successful community. We can think of cities as being really big communities. Maybe your neighborhood is a community. And of course, as you get to smaller places like towns and villages, the community will become smaller, but people will know each other much better. Or we could also talk about communities of animals, right? Sometimes we talk about a bird community or a community of fish that might live on a reef or something like that. They live together. There's different things that people do. They do it in peace, and they often help each other out to make the community successful. For example, following the earthquake, a few small mountain communities were cut off for nearly a week. We often use the word simply also because a village, a town, a hamlet, which is
can't
smaller.
Really know.
Yeah, we can use community to kind of talk about any of those things, no matter how big or small it is.
那跟男性领导的社区不同的地方是 Umoja 是完全由女性领导的，也就是说男性不可以住在这边。那 community 这个名词指的是社区 so people who live in the same area or a group of people that share the same interests or beliefs, right? So for example, the LGBTQ community or the Christian community.
That's another good example. The women manage the village's affairs. They make group decisions together and support themselves financially through tourism and the sale of traditional crafts. No matter what goes on in the community, no matter what needs to be done in the community, the ladies are doing it. Okay, we saw that tourism is a part of Umoja, so that gives us the idea that people can visit there just to see things, to visit the place, to learn about the place as well, because that's basically what tourism is. It's providing things for people who want to travel somewhere just for fun, just for pleasure, to see the place, to learn about it, to enjoy being there, to buy things, eat the local food, that kind of thing. So tourism is a big part of many different countries. Of course, Taiwan always likes tourism. We invite people or advertise Taiwan to the rest of the world. People will come here, visit the big cities, visit the night markets, go to 101, climb a mountain, go to a beach, whatever, and they do it because they're on holiday. They are tourists and they are bringing their money to spend in the local community. They have fun. People here make money. Everybody wins. Yay. For example, Thailand's economy relies heavily on tourism.
在这边女性会负责所有的事项，并且一起做决定。以经济财务方面来说呢，他们也会透过观光业或者是卖手工艺品来互相扶持。Tourism 这个名词指的是观光业或者是旅游业 ，the business of providing hotels or entertainment for people on holiday。那游客呢，我们就可以说是 tourist， 一样也是个名词。那观光景点 tourist attraction。那 financially 这个副词指的是财务地、财政上地 ，related to money。那 craft 他们做的手工艺品 crafts。这个名词指的就是手工艺品。
Okay, next we read their work, that's the women who live in Umoja, their work supports the community and guides tourists to gain a deeper understanding of their cause. So there's lots of good things that come from these tourists coming in there. And of course, the people in Umoja, the women who live there, want to show people around, want to talk about what they're doing, why they're doing it, and also make sure the tourists have a good time and, enjoy themselves.
那他们所做的一切都支持着这个社群，并且呢，也让游客们更了解他们为什么要这样做。
All right, so it's been around since 1990. We know that. Now, how did it start? Well, next it says Rebecca Lolosoli's personal experiences led to the creation of Umoja. So things that happened to her, and I'm sure she also saw things happening to women in her life,
exactly.
Women around in her family, around her friends. And so she decided to do something. And it says, after speaking out against the unfair treatment of women in her old community, she faced problems like physical violence. And that is not okay.
Yeah.
So she was one of those women who was very brave, and she stood up and said, sometimes my husband hits me, or my sister's husband, beat her or whatever, and that is not okay. That should not happen. I'm going to get the police involved. But it seems a lot of people, mostly men, I'm guessing, didn't like that. And so she was attacked as well, and she was not being helped or listened to or respected. So she decided to go and find a place where she could be and other women could join her.
那特别要提到的就是这个村庄的创办人 Rebecca Lolosoli。当初呢，就是因为她替女性发声，告诉大家一些她在前一个社区发生的不平等对待，所以呢，她就开始面对很多像是肢体暴力相关的问题。Creation 这个名词指的是创造或者是创建 ，It's something that has been created。那在这边指的就是 Umoja 这个村庄被创建了。那 physical 形容词指的是身体的 something that's related to somebody's body。The opposite would be mental or emotionally. 那 speak out against something 指的就是坚定而公开的表明反对某事。So you give your opinion about something.
Recognizing the need for a safe space, she gathered women who sought the same. So she probably realized that she's not the only person who's
not alone.
Afraid of being attacked or afraid of feeling in danger. So she found other women who had the same experiences and also wanted to do something, and they became stronger together. But this is, of course, after she recognized that there's many other people who can have benefits, or many other people who are facing the same problem that she was. When you recognize something, you see something and you know what it is, okay? So it could be something very simple like, oh, that's my bicycle because it's purple and it has a green wheel or whatever. I know it. Or I see your face and I know your face. I know who you are. I recognize you. Or it can be to kind of see something in society, something out there in the world, and see it as a problem or see it as an opportunity, right? So it's not something physical you see. It's kind of looking at things and knowing what you can do in a certain situation. For example, it took the president a long time to recognize that his decisions had made the bad situation worse.
But at least he knows. Right?
Well, that's true. It just took a long time.
Recognize 这个动词指的是意识到或者是体认到。So when you recognize something, you know it, you accept it, or you admit that it's true. So here it means that Rebecca had an aha moment, right? Aha. And let's take a look at our language and focus for today. 那今天的 language and focus 我们看到了 the 加上一个形容词的常见用法，通常用来表达一个抽象的想法或者是概念。那整个 the 加形容词要视为单数的名词，所以呢也会搭配单数的动词。那课文这里看到了 she gathered women who sought the same 一样的东西，那其实就是代表她聚集了那些也想要同样东西的人，也想要庇护及安全的女性们。那 so for example， 那另外看到the 后面加上形容词还可以呢表示某一类型的人，整个类型的人，这时候后面就会是复数的动词。So for example, the rich would be the rich people, the dead would be the dead people. For example, the rich have more money than the poor.
Of course, and then in 1990, she and all these women, they established Umoja, and it's been going on and getting stronger since then. So now in Umoja, in 2025, they live free from fear and can build a better future for themselves and their children. That's great.
那 free from something 指的就是没有，所以现在 Umoja 这些女性呢，有着没有恐惧且美好的未来。那如果喜欢今天的主题的话，你可以到空中家教和真人老师互动练习哦。
Word families.
字首 im prefix 常接在名词或者是形容词之前，表示不或者是非无。For example, sane 指的是 healthy and not mentally ill， 它的相反加上个 in 就会变成 insane。
Yes.
那再来 correct， 如果加上 in， 因为 correct 是正确嘛，加上 in 就会变成 incorrect 不正确。
Yes.
And Mike, would you want to try one?
No. Okay. Yes.
So for example,
Yes.
complete, finish, complete.
Incomplete.
Exactly. Very easy.
Visible.
Invisible.
Competent.
Incompetent.
Congruent.
What?
Congruent.
I don't know what it means.
Just say it.
Incongruent.
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 Very good. Vocabulary review.
Protection. Henry wore a pair of gloves for protection while he handled the hot pot. Violence. Katie doesn't like movies that show a lot of killing because the violence upsets her. Strength. Ben had the strength to keep working hard and never gave up on his dreams, even when things were difficult. Community. People in this community like to plant lots of flowers in the gardens behind their homes. Tourism. Tourism is important to Kenting, which is why there are so many hotels there. Recognize. I didn't recognize that the store was closed, even though the lights were off and the door was locked.
智慧小补帖
Sanctuary. Gender. Financially. Craft. Creation. Physical.